Hey there, my name's Don Felker, and I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of Ruby Static Pro. Ruby Static Pro is a Ruby static site generator template based upon the Middleman static site generator, which is also in Ruby. Typically, when you start a Middleman project, you're giving a blank slate. This template, though, comes chock full of features to do all kinds of things and mainly save you weeks of setup, configuration, and frustration time that you would endure to get a site to this stage. This includes a responsive theme, Tailwind CSS, Stimulus JS, Fuse JS search with client-side indexing already set up for you. So you don't have to maintain an index, it's generated for you at build time. We got ES build that's configured, a sitemap that is built and updated every time you add or remove a page. The blogging extensions installed, set up to support blogging, pages, tags. The individual blogs support Markdown. You have syntax highlighting already built in. There's author blocks that are at the bottom that are configurable, that are needed or not needed. You have Open Graph cards and X cards, Open Graph Protocol tags and X cards that are included in each page, which are also highly configurable as well. Favicons, legal pages, and a whole bunch of stuff. And we also include GitHub CI/CD actions through the workflows that are already set up for you and ready to go. This will save you weeks upon weeks of time. So when you buy a license, you get access to all of the code and updates for a year. You can take the code, do whatever you want with it. It's yours at that point. You can tweak it, modify it. In the end, you just saved yourself a tremendous amount of time getting a site set up with Middleman out of the box. So quick question here. Why would you choose Middleman over a particular other static site generator? And that's a good question. There's a lot of them out there, but Middleman is battle tested. It's been used by startups all the way to billion-dollar companies for various different pieces of their application architecture. So this is something that just works. Furthermore, this is written for Ruby developers, though you don't have to be a Ruby developer as your primary development tool. However, I develop all of my applications in Ruby on Rails, and I built a template that was a slimmed down version of this that I've been using for years for all of my sales and marketing pages on Middleman. Then I realized that a lot of other people might be very interested in this as well. And the reason that I did this is because there's less context switching for me to go through when I go from my SaaS application written in Ruby on Rails, and then I need to update my sales and marketing page, which is at the root domain usually, and I have that built with a static site generator, which is this one here. What you're looking at here on Ruby Static Pro is actually an instance of Ruby Static Pro. So we are dogfooding the product as we actually release it. If you would like to see a full demo, you can click on the demo link or just go to demo.rubystaticpro and you'll end up on a very similar looking site with the same exact things here. A couple of the blog posts will be different because we update the blog posts, etc. on that site. And you also notice there's no docs page up here. The docs page back on the traditional app here is actually the documentation, which is a comprehensive documentation for Ruby Static Pro. So if you want to know how to update the author blocks, you can check that out here. If you want to update the blog Open Graph images or the actual tags or whatever is getting generated in there, you can learn how and what happens when that generation happens here. You can learn how to exclude certain things from the search index. So for example, if we were to go back to the main page here and you wanted to search, you can just search for something and it would show up, and there would show up a blog. This was all done client side. When the site is built, it builds a search index for you that ships with each build that Fuse.js connects to. So search is already handled in there. Inside the docs, actually, we actually have documentation search, again, powered by Fuse.js, and this is just on the actual Ruby Static Pro site. So when you purchase a license, you get access to everything, and you can modify however you would see fit. Okay, so let's assume you've purchased a license to Ruby Static Pro and you want to get it set up and start working with it. You'll get up and going in just a couple of minutes flat. First thing you'll want to do is copy the repository and then clone it. So we'll say git clone repository. You're going to cd into that repository. Then you're going to run an npm install. This will install all of the JavaScript dependencies. It should take a very short amount of time. Then we're going to run bundle. On your machine, this may take a little bit longer because I already have all of the dependencies installed because I've been working on it, but it might take a minute or so for you. Once that's done, you'll be ready to get going. And to do that, you'll say bundle exec middleman serve. And as soon as this is running, we can go to localhost 4567, which is what we see here. You can see your site here, which is localhost. So localhost 4567, and now it's running. So I'm going to go ahead and go back here, and I'm going to close this down, and I'm actually going to open up VS Code instance in here. And then we'll go ahead and start this up inside of here, actually. Bundle exec middleman serve. Okay, now it's running. We'll refresh the page just to verify. We see that it's running. That's great. Now let's go ahead and edit this. So let's go to the index, and then we'll just say hello world right here, and we'll save it, and you'll see that it's rebuilt and it's already done in 36 milliseconds. I'm gonna go back and refresh, and now we see hello world. Now we're editing the site real time, and it's very fast. That's how easy it is to get set up and going with Ruby Static Pro. At this point, you can start editing blog posts, you can start editing various different configuration files, the logos, you name it. The code is yours to do whatever you'd like. Okay, so now you've got your application up and running. You've updated the logos, you've updated the text, and configured the site how you'd like it, and you'd like to deploy it. To build the actual Ruby Static Pro site, all you're gonna do is you say bundle exec middleman build. Once you execute the build command, it'll build the site into a build directory, which we see over here. And this is where all the site is built. Notice how there is .gz files. So everything has been gzipped for you. This is set up inside of the configuration of Middleman, which is in the config.rb file. This is the main heart of the Ruby Static Pro site. This is where everything happens. The syntax highlighting setup. This is where Tailwind CSS is enabled, ES build, a bunch of different markdown settings, blog settings, you name it. And you can see down here we have, let's look for gzip down at the bottom. It'll activate gzip on the build, so it'll zip everything up and it'll minify the HTML as well. So if we were to come look at the index.html, we're gonna see it's already, everything's all minified up here. If you notice, it's just on 3 lines of code here, that's it. So everything's been kind of squished together. And if you look in the browser, it's not gonna be formatted nicely, of course. And if you run this from, you can take these files that are inside the build folder, and then you can ship them to any static site host that you would like. This could be S3, could be GitHub Pages, it could be a server that you have and run, could be something like Hatchbox where we run our sites. Anywhere where you can serve static sites, you'll be able to run it. And that's Ruby Static Pro in a nutshell. You can easily purchase a license, clone it, within a couple of minutes, be up and running, build the site, and publish it to any static site host that you would like. If you have any questions, please leave them below. Thanks for watching.